checking other evaluations
So I guess that,
we never excluded.
I guess it, it's not like we're talking about something that's, it's your.
But that's supposed to, you know, go across the wire, I thought.
Well, call meeting order, roll call.
Mayor Westgard,
Yes.
Moller,
Yes.
Stanky,
Yes.
Wolfman,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Yes.
and Toms.
Yes.
Okay, consent agenda, we have to get rid of the building permit, it's not signed, didn't make setback.
Yeah, the building permit did not meet front setbacks, so they're working through their options.
We need a motion to consent agenda minus the building permit.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Bolton,
Yes.
Stanky,
Yes.
Moller,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Toms.
Yes.
Okay, we have the hometown pride, Brett, you wanna give us a little, we've got a new idea. It sounds really good.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here on behalf of the Hometown Pride Committee to seek permission from the City Council to move forward with establishing a Life Jacket Loaner Program. The first question you may have is, what is a Life Jacket Loaner Program? It is a program that offers temporary use of life jackets free of charge to swimmers, floaters, and others who want to engage in water activities. Life jackets should be of various sizes to accommodate children and adults. Often the life jackets are gently used ones from donation drives. The Hometown Pride Committee is proposing to have two sites for the program. The main site would be at the boat ramp near the mini golf course. The smaller site would be at the Crescent Beach to accommodate children. To store the life jackets, the program will require a small shed to secure the life jackets during the night or during periods of bad weather. The following set of proposed guidelines provide some idea of how we envision this program will function. The life jackets would be donated from the public. Each life jacket would be marked as Blackhawk Lake life jacket sharing. Life jackets are loaned out in the honor system. The life jacket loaning site would not be staffed. A small storage shed, as I said earlier, would be placed near the town bay boat ramp. The storage shed would have locking doors. Camp Crescent staff will unlock the shed and open it in the morning and close the shed in the evenings when the campground office closes. Camp Crescent staff will inspect the life jackets weekly to assure the life jackets are in usable condition. Life jackets with holes, missing filling, torn straps, and broken or missing buckles will be disposed of. A separate life jacket loaning site will be established on the west side of Crescent Beach. This will be for children swimming at Crescent Beach. This will be a pole with hooks on which child-sized life jackets will hang. As the site on Crescent Beach will be exposed to weather, Camp Crescent staff will take the life jackets into the office each evening and put them out in the mornings. During periods when the beach is closed, life jackets will not be put out. Both life jacket loaning sites will have signs describing the site that the life jackets are loaned on the honor system and a statement that the City of Lakeview is not responsible for accidents. And finally, the Life Jacket Loaner Program will generally operate between Memorial Day weekend and Labor Day weekend. To move forward with the program, we would need the following from the City Council. We need approval of the guidelines above or a similar set of conditions under which the program can operate. We would need the council's approval to place a small shed near the boat ramp and a pole with hooks at the beach to store and display life jackets. And we would need to purchase the following building for $200. We estimate some signage and miscellaneous expenses to go along with that at $250. The pole on Crescent Beach would be about $50. No life jackets will be purchased without City Council approval. And the shed and the pole would be installed by city staff, and the sites would be attended to by Camp Crescent staff. This program, we believe, will benefit residents and visitors of all ages by enabling them to safely enjoy the lake. Thank you for your time and consideration.
How many life jackets will you plan on having there, would you say?
We haven't come up with a number. I'd say probably a good dozen or so. And again, the main thing is, to have all different sizes, especially for younger children and stuff too.
So have they checked with Jim Girls and Carnival to how this will affect their business? They sell them,
Have not looked at that.
I was just wondering, you know.
What we're really, I'm thinking that this would probably be most beneficial for the people that aren't regular users of the lake that probably wouldn't wanna go out. You know, maybe they're just visiting, here, you know, they don't necessarily wanna, you know, make the commitment of the life jacket. This would just be something that they would just use for maybe a day or two. Throughout the season, they should return it, you know, the idea is that they return it, they don't actually keep them overnight or anything like that. But-
Yeah, we're only talking like a dozen,
I
Even if
know,
we're
I just was
talking-
wondering if they had
20.
worried about their business piece of places, you know.
I think it's a great idea. You know, Tammy, you saw it down in.
In Florida, they had it down there by one of their marinas down there, yes.
Okoboji has one, Woodbine, they have some DNR area over there has another program similar to this.
Okay,
And I think there's one other place, Northwest Iowa, and I forget where offhand, that has these programs.
I don't think it's a bad idea, I just was wondering if you check that out, you know.
And the hometown pride is gonna lead into building or finding the building or?
I think we have one
Yep.
kind of spotted, is
We
that
have one
right?
spotted.
You know, if you look at page 6, that would be the proposed building. And now, we had initially talked with our resident woodworker about building us a shed, John, for the mayor. But,
Woody Woodpecker.
and as the mayor was down kind of pricing materials at Lakeview Lumber, Chris talked about this one. It's actually down at Carroll Lumber,
Oh,
their sister store,
Yeah.
where, and they would offer that to the city for $200, which is substantially less than materials.
They have it marked at $5.95 down there. We just have to build some pegs inside and put a lock on it. Hopefully get some holes dug so we can put some steel rods so they can't tip it over in the window, tip it over. That's a concern that we have, the wind might get it, but if we put some big stakes in it, that should hold it up. Lee, you have a question?
I think this would be a great place to request a grant from INS, REM.
Sure.
I mean, they're always good about stuff like, especially stuff like this.
Yeah.
They're really big into that.
Sounds like a plan. 'Cause we're gonna spray paint on each one that belonged here, so. And we know some of them are gonna walk away, you can't get away from that. If they're down to stealing them, I guess anything can happen.
Tammy, didn't you say something about the donation of these things?
It's all based on donations from the community and as far as life jackets that they might have sitting around that aren't being used anymore, that are still in good enough shape to donate to the cause, you know, and stuff. And I really like the idea for the smaller children, you know. Helps to promote, again, road safety, water safety to start with, so.
I'll make a motion that we go with the program as outlined by the hometown pride.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Waltman,
Yes.
Moller,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Reese,
Yes,
Thomas.
I gotta ask you, I didn't hear the motion.
To approve the program as it was outlined.
Okay, I vote yes.
The city newsletter's gonna go out, and then a message from the mayor is looking for life jackets. So, in anticipation of the council's approval, which we thought we would have, we're gonna start reaching for life jackets. I think it'll be a really good program. Okay, resolution 1819, that's to fix a public hearing.
Yeah,
Pat, you surely want to tell us something?
Yep, so the resolution will be to actually set the date for public hearing. I want to talk with you about what's on page 7, looking at a debt schedule. First of all, $700,000, really what that amounts to is the bid for the project was about $633,000, and then the engineering cost on that, on top of that, so about $700,000 total. The interest rate that we're using for illustration purposes is 3.5%, and that comes from our bond council as far as other rates that have of other issuances that have recently been done. and we would propose that we would issue debt on the 1st of June this year. So, first of all, I would call your attention to the left 2/3 sides of this, with just not paying any attention to the big boxes on the right side. That would be a proposed debt schedule for this. And you see that we would propose to issue the debt for 10 years, and that the principal that is due each year varies. And you'll see that for the first 5 years, we propose to have lower principal payments, and then it jumps up to 95 and 100,000. The concept there is that we also have an existing electric revenue debt that we issued in 2012. So my concept would be that we, between the two issuances, 2012 issuance and the 2018 issuance, that when you add those together, the total principal and interest payments for the city each year are roughly the same. So that you can see when you look at the right side, the boxes on the right side, where it says 2012 P&I, that's the principal and interest payments that are due for that year from the 2012 issuance. And then, say like on that top line where it's 49,700, and the column to the left is 64,500, you add those two together, and that would be the total for the 2012 and the 2018 issuance. So we look at having total debt service from the electric utility that remains fairly consistent over the 10-year life of the issuance. Now, as far as another option that's out there is to refinance that existing debt. But that existing debt's at 2%, and this new debt would likely not be at that interest rate anymore. So it's to the city's benefit not to.
So where are we, we're talking about borrowing the money from where? Again,
Pardon me?
where did you say we're gonna get the money from?
When or where?
Where?
What? Oh, where?
Thanks.
I've talked with Farmer State Bank
Okay.
and with Iowa State Bank,
Okay,
and to have them split the issuance.
okay, all right.
And the past three or four debt issuances that we've done that. Just split the issuance, or they would basically work with each other and split the issuance between them. And actually, it's worked out pretty well.
And this is the 3.50%, that's what they're talking, or is that still up for negotiation?
It's up for negotiation. But again, that's best estimate that's actually based on our bond council's estimate, not the banks. They have not put a number to it.
Okay. I'd like to see it lower if we can, but then again, see what you can do, I guess.
Sure. I guess, what are your thoughts about the way that the debt issuance is structured? With level payments between the two of them?
It's the only way we go, isn't it? Makes sense.
For sake of consistency, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
When you don't pay as much principal on the front side of this new debt issuance, of course, the interest costs go up. But, again, for sake of consistency, it's a pretty good model, I think, to follow.
Okay.
Can we afford to do it any other way? Pay more up front?
Some, and I guess the answer, Vicki, is yeah, we can afford to do some. And I don't know exactly what those numbers would be, because there's, of course, lots of other variables with expenses. Primarily, power cost is what drives that the most. And here within about when we get into year 3 of this debt issuance, we'll be getting into a new power supply contract with not knowing exactly what that's gonna be.
So we could at any point though, put down extra money if we needed to, or if we wanted to, we're not.
It would depend on how you structure the debt issuance.
Okay.
So if you certainly can do that to call some of the debt early. Oftentimes, the lenders don't like you to call until you're several years into the debt issuance.
Okay. But there's no specifics on any kind of penalty for
We're doing it early.
doing it early?
It's just a negotiated thing between us and our lenders.
Okay.
But the banks have always been easy to work with.
Oh,
Yeah, they really have, they've been good to work with us, you know. And you know, by doing this, we avoid going to the market and paying marketing fees to somebody. And so long as you feel comfortable that you get a really good rate from the local banks, there's really no incentive to go out on the market. And we've had real good experience with this over time.
I'd say move forward and see where we're at, but, I don't know. Tammy, what's your thoughts?
So the resolution that's for consideration tonight actually just sets public hearing date. Okay, so we'd set public hearing date, and it's proposed to be for the next meeting on April 16th, when we would hold that public hearing. We would probably not take any action to enter into the loan agreement at that time, but we will have fulfilled the procedural requirements for public hearing, and we'll prepare then for the issuance of the debt around June 1st.
And I'll make the motion to move forward with the resolution 1819.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Moller,
Yes.
Stanky,
Yes.
Waltman,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 491, this is our third reading. Our third and final reading. Do we have that motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
So,
Roll call.
Okay, Moller,
Yes.
Waltman,
yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Stanky,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Okay, this is third reading also for ordinance 492. Do we have that motion?
I'll make it.
For a second?
Second.
Every second. Roll call.
Reese,
Yes.
Moller,
Yes.
Stanky,
Yes.
Waltman,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Okay, we've got some appointments to the Board of Adjustment. Now we have three. I'm wondering if the council would like to have those three come to the council meeting and we can talk to them before we appoint two, if anybody's interested in that.
I
I think that's an excellent idea,
do too.
because they're all three very strong candidates.
Jim Frisbee, did you hear about it, that Jim Frisbee had shown interest?
No.
Just today, basically got back from down south here over the past couple days and stopped in today and expressed his interest.
I guess I would like to see this become more of a permanent thing that we do as far as the boards go. I mean, these are still very important positions. I don't want to discourage volunteerism, but I like the idea of them coming and being able to find out why they want to be on the position, and if they realize the responsibilities that are going with it, that they've been informed of such. Get a little feel for it when they are coming to get on these positions, I guess. I think the council should be a little bit more involved in that. It's just my thinking on it anyway.
And it gives them
I agree.
it gives them an opportunity to ask us questions too about it. And it also gives them, that we can lay out what the board actually does and make sure how important it is for being here and doing different things like that, so that there's no surprises, not realizing how long they're on and stuff like that. So I think it's a good idea.
I do. Too.
Motion to table it or to just take no action?
Yeah, I suppose we should have a motion to table.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, so the motion is to table and invite the applicants to the next council.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Moller,
Yes.
Waltman,
Yep.
Reese,
Yes.
Stanky,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, we got some requested street closures. Little twist to everything here. Race want to do the whole street?
Yeah, if you wanna talk about that, it'll be Royce and.
Sure.
Thanks, Brett.
Hi, there's a couple of requests for street closures for special projects in the community. The first one is 4th Street between High Street and Main Street for Laney's Corral's 20th anniversary. Initially, I guess they just wanted to block off the parking area, but I really didn't feel comfortable with people milling out in the streets and traffic going by, so I thought maybe we should just close that one block stretch of Fourth Street. And Scott had talked to Farmer State Bank, and they were concerned about their drive-through being blocked. So my thought was the eastbound we would block right at High, then the other side past the drive-in so they could use the drive-through and exit to the west. That was just my thoughts on it. I was not comfortable with people, especially with alcohol involved, milling about in the streets and traffic going through.
I think that's a good idea.
And the second one, I believe this is the second car show they're having here.
Maybe
Third?
yeah.
Okay, and that's on Sunday, September 23rd. And I would like to see the same street closures we used for Water Carnival, with the noted exception, the street that goes from Third past the park, leave open the curve road. But the rest of it, the Third right there at Lake, then up at Fifth Street on Lake, then by Kevin Schmitz.
That thing seems like it's been growing every year.
Well, we sort of underestimated last time, we had to keep moving the barriers back.
We ended up closing the street anyway, because
Yeah.
there was so much traffic.
No, those were they had proposed that, and those are just my suggestions for it.
Sounds like a good plan.
So you want Lake Street, from Lake Street on up through town to be left open?
Yes. Yes, they're just gonna block it because they will have cars and, I presume tractors, I don't know, there all day long. So, right there from the Stone House, Dr. Lundgren's, past the lake, up to, where you turn to go, up to Kevin Schmitz. And then up to Fifth Street on Lake. It'd basically be the Water Carnival closure.
So we need a motion to do this with the recommendations by the chief, I would think. Do we have that motion?
Yeah, I'll make it. I think it's a good idea.
Yep. Second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Reese,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Moller,
Yes.
Boltman,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, we have a city administrator report.
Yeah, first thing there that was on the agenda, splash pad and Speaker Park Wi-Fi. Just a little update on splash pad here first, that the contractor had planned to come back to Lakeview tomorrow to continue work on that. And we've now asked the contractor to hold off a little bit because of the cold weather. We talked, the mayor and I talked to them this morning, it looked like it would be around the middle of April then that they'd be shooting at to come finish pouring that concrete. The idea here though that I want to talk about is Wi-Fi. We had proposed to put security cameras down there at the splash pad. The funds have been raised for the security cameras down there. In order to watch those live, well, like on that setup that Kay has in her office, we would just add extra cameras to that, and you watch them on that, and then also records on the computer up here at the same time, so we can always play back. In order to do that, though, we do need an internet connection, so it'd be a Wi-Fi connection down there. About $40 a month for that Wi-Fi connection, or that internet subscription, I guess. Question to the council more is about basically providing public Wi-Fi access down at the
I'm in favor of that. I think that would be a nice service to the community and to the visitors.
I agree.
That's close enough to your house, Vicki, that you can get free Wi-Fi.
Yeah, maybe I could.
She's always thinking, isn't she?
So what's that gonna cost?
about $40 a month.
I'll just go with 40 covers that deal.
Yeah, there's some initial hardware, but for all of the security cameras and everything, we raised money for that. Yeah. Another question is whether this is just open Wi-Fi access or whether it's password protected stuff.
I would recommend open.
So would I.
I
Is
agree.
that a motion?
Well, I guess before that, and he's here, and he could probably address some of the internet stuff about, because when you, again, my only concern with open connection is that it's available to anybody, including the neighbors then, if we don't size the system right, so,
Well, I mean,
You should be able to size it correctly. I mean, they have it here, just in certain buildings.
right, cause if, you know, you go to a library, or you go to a rest stop, for example, they have Wi-Fi right at that rest stop, you know, free Wi-Fi. They have free Wi-Fi at certain restaurants, like
Everywhere you go,
coffee shops.
it's the way the world is. We probably
So
could
have
get
you
discounts, can't
talked
we?
to Lee about this?
oh yeah, yeah.
The thing you gotta consider when you offer free is the city's offering a free Wi-Fi service. And for $40, you're getting 5 meg. So what will 5 meg provide? You know, you have 10 mothers down there, and their kids are swimming and they're trying to stream, you're gonna have issues.
It slows down, doesn't it?
It'll
I mean,
lock up.
bogs- Yeah, bogs it down.
So then it becomes, Scott's getting a call and they're saying, your free Wi-Fi is not working.
Well, it's not meant to be,
No, it's not.
Well,
for everybody to jump
I'm just
on.
telling you what you're gonna run into.
right, it's just,
And to alleviate that, you gotta offer more bandwidth.
right.
So then all of a sudden you're running into $100 instead of $40.
We don't want that,
Well, I'm just saying what you're gonna run into.
right. I guess to me, it's nothing that we're gonna advertise, you know, free Wi-Fi down at the park, and then pretty soon you have a whole park full of people.
It won't take long to catch on. You'll have them walking up there. People, they park down by the library.
Yeah,
You'll watch down there, there'll be campers parked outside there.
Yep, they know they're there.
And one, I'm
But it
just,
seems to work. Well,
The thing
I didn't
almost-
hear anybody complain at the library.
no, but I mean, you're gonna have
Oh, yeah.
people do that and you're gonna,
Can't they park at anybody's house?
Huh?
Can't they
No.
do that?
you got, your Wi-Fi's locked down where it should be.
No.
If not,
You put it in, I don't know.
I'm sure your router's locked down for password protection.
everybody up to Terry's house.
It's password protected.
Yeah.
But that's just one thing you run into when you run free is everybody knows it's free and it doesn't take long, then you run into a bandwidth issue and then all of a sudden you're getting complaints.
But we're just offering the minimum, I think that's a start.
Yeah,
You know, I guess the other thing that I would ask is more like the way that we run our free Wi-Fi at the campground. Basically, we limit streaming, we can't stream down there, because the sites are locked.
right.
And I guess I would propose that we would do that.
But if we see that that's having a problem with Kay watching the video or something like that, then we could just,
And that would affect the camera
Right.
reception too.
So-
It frees up too.
right. So if we see that it's gonna be a problem, we could just make it a password protected thing, and,
Or shut the free Wi-Fi off.
right.
But it's something that everywhere you go anymore, it's free Wi-Fi. Every building seems like you have free Wi-Fi.
But
But I don't stream, I don't even know what that is.
when you go into motels anymore, they offer a free Wi-Fi and then they'll offer a paid one.
Right.
Yeah.
If you wanna do any,
Or it's
if you're traveling as a business person and you wanna use a Wi-Fi for business, you pay the $4.95 because the free's
That's what I do.
not very good service.
And 30 Acres is putting that system in where they gotta pay, correct?
They're doing a pay-as-you-use.
Right. But our campground is free yet.
It is, now we're having to upgrade service sites.
We're gonna have to look at what's kind of a pipe you get to there to make it sustainable.
So, do we not wanna have Lee come and give the council a presentation? Because it seems to me that I wasn't able to hear all of that from the audience, but, there must be a way to make this work.
Lee was the audience.
We can make it work.
Okay, alright.
It certainly can work, I guess my initial question is, when you have Wi-Fi down there, we'll have a tough time limiting it strictly to the park, so, you know, there will be some additional free access that we're offering to people. And so long as everybody understands that and is okay with it, that's,
You should be able to, your access points, limit them down so that it's
You narrow the field, don't you?
You should be able, yeah.
To
you should
ride
be able to.
around where the camera is, or what?
Well, I would suggest your cameras be hardwired. I wouldn't put them on Wi-Fi,
Okay.
just because you're gonna have a lot, you want those to work all the time. You know, the Wi-Fi that comes and goes, you're not as concerned about that. But your cameras, you're gonna wanna have hardwired so that they have good reception all the time.
Just so the concept, the installation concept is the internet equipment goes in the shelter house.
And we are bringing a fiber drop up to the shelter house. We're doing that just on our dime to get that up there. It needs to be there anyway, so.
So it's just basically your shelter house that's gonna have it then?
Depending where you put the cameras.
And
You just gotta
And
trace the
then
wire
if
over
it
the
works
camera.
like the campground
We'll
does, it
vibrate
just
it back
has,
for you.
there's like 3 nodes around there, and it basically bounces off of each other in these nodes, and enhances the service coverage.
It's called a mesh network. It's kinda like a net. They all talk to each other and it just forms a mesh network over it.
Okay.
I would presume that's what I'm sure Jeremy's gonna do it,
Yeah.
tie them in with your other systems so that they're all compatible.
Well, I'd say let's try it at no charge and then, without the password, and if we have problems, put the password on. And, you know, it's not like we're doing it for the public's benefit.
Right.
I mean, that'd be my opinion.
Vicky, now we're ready. Now we're ready for the motion.
Okay, I make a motion to provide free Wi-Fi at the splash pad in Spreaker Park.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
All right, Toms,
Yes.
Moeller,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Boltman,
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
And now the wrap.
Yeah. All right, I guess I turn your attention to page 17 in the packet. And this is an advertising and marketing initiative of SETD. That they have secured a 53-foot semi-trailer that is, it's a trailer for the Alcoholic Beverages Division. So the concept here is, of course, that's traveling all around the state then, and it would have a Sac County side on it. And so you're just marketing Sac County whenever that thing goes down the road. So SETD has secured that trailer. There was an email from Brandy Ripley in the memo, is on page 3, as they talked about some of the requirements that would be needed to get pictures on there. So first of all, they said this would be a Sac County trailer, and it would advertise Sac County. So when it has photos of the other attractions in the county, it just has photos. There'd be no text to go along with it, so it probably does not say Lakeview or Black Hawk Lake. It says, well, it said come to Sac County, but then has these photos. And we would need to come up with a couple of good photos. And it can be a little problematic because they have to be real high quality photos. It's like, I'm not really up to date on all the technology on that, but they gotta be 720 DPI photos. So they do need to be high resolution photos. And they've talked with Emily Bush about that, and Angie Bennett, she has taken lots of good photos. So they were doing some checking on that to see what we'd come up with photos. I guess the question is, would anticipate that Lakeview would want to participate, but you see what the cost is. Anticipated cost will be maxed out at $4,350, and they would anticipate the cost range to be between $435 to $1,000 per item displayed. And my initial discussion with Brandy probably has 2 photos of Lakeview on there somehow, you know, it's some lake photo, and either an event photo or a bicycling photo.
So is this is open to every community in Sac County,
Yes.
but it's up to the communities whether they financially participate?
Only those that financially participate would be on the trail. That's my understanding.
Okay.
Where will this truck go then? I mean, will it stay in Iowa, or does it go
It's,
border to border, or what's the deal?
it would, it would stay in, I guess it has to stay in Iowa. It's Iowa alcoholic beverages, you know, and so they're making wholesale deliveries.
So I have a couple questions. One, what if not all the communities go? Are we still confined to 2 pictures?
And I guess the answer is, Vicky, for sure, is that I don't know. But the other answer is that the number of pictures would dictate the cost. So if they're limited on the number of folks that participate, there ought to be more opportunities for those who are willing to pay.
And so the truck goes around Iowa to what? What does it attend?
Like the truck makes deliveries to Lakeview Foods. So it's delivering to grocery stores and liquor stores and just all over the place.
Convenience stores, liquor stores. That's
Wherever they sell alcohol, that's where it's gonna go.
Yeah, you know, any place that's selling alcohol, you know, any hard liquor, it's come from the state of Iowa. You know, that's where they get it all.
So they'll deliver off a 53 footer, they won't use straight trucks to deliver
True.
to conveniences?
So, like
You
the
see
one
that semi in here all, you know, it's coming through here all the time. That,
I do.
what's the name of that? I can't, what is it, the state truck or something that delivers?
it's the alcoholic beverages division.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. What happens if they have an accident, they tear up side of the trailer, tear up your pictures, whatever it might be? Who's responsible for, are we responsible to replace it at our cost, or is that under their insurance, or how does that work?
I don't know the answer.
Okay, I think we need to find that out, because like I said, we deliver a lot of times in convenience stores with 53 footers and stuff, and there's a lot of things that can happen when you're in there, so I would just find out where that cost comes from and who's responsible for it if it does get tore up. You know, could have it under 2 weeks and could get it tore up, and there you go.
Because the deadline is,
Oh my God, I can't shut it off.
Uh-oh,
the deadline is Thursday.
it's Thursday, yeah.
Well, that's a question you need to ask.
Yeah.
Jeez. Sorry about that.
So can we make a motion?
Pay so much depending that decision.
Yeah, I guess really I'd like to know that the council would like to participate. And the other thing that I'd suggest is that we would have this discussion with Community Club too and have them share costs.
I think if we do it, we gotta stick with 2, and so we know what the cost is. 2 prints,
Okay.
because otherwise you know, you'd end up with hotel outside, and then
Yeah,
what's the
now-
cost gonna be?
Randy had mentioned that barn quilts and the river were already committed to that. You know of anybody else committed, Dale?
No, I don't off the top of my head.
And if we come up and they say if they roll that truck next week, we don't wanna be a part of it, do we? If there's no if we don't get reimbursed, if they wreck the truck, we're out.
I don't think
Surely
they'd
we
have
don't
to
wanna be a
have
part of
insurance
that.
for
That have,
Yeah,
yeah,
haven't had insurance.
Liability or something, you know, but
I'm not worried about it, but until you don't ask that question, you're not worried about it. I'd say I'm not go with it and find out some of the details on that and see how many we get in there. And if the cost, we'll let Terry plan on 2, then you can negotiate if it,
Well, if we only plan on 2, it opens it up to the rest of the county too. We don't wanna have our, just
Well,
blackhawking.
But I thought we were only gonna be just 2, providing that the other communities were all on board doing something also, right?
Yeah.
So if they aren't on board then,
Yeah.
some of them, we may have the opportunity to do another one, is what you're saying, right?
But what's it
Potentially, I mean,
about?
this is it could be a unique thing because the timeline is so short on this. And whether people are able to make a decision to
So what
participate.
is it, one, this happens then every year?
It does. Now, they've offered this now for, I don't know if it's been 10 years, but it's been quite a while. And you see the costs are pretty substantial, so we've never shown interest. But, and again, this is driven by SETD, but certainly we have a lot of tourism assets to advertise.
Absolutely.
who would determine what pictures go on there? Would you have a committee do it, or would you have Hometown Pride, or how would you handle that?
We would, as a community, and really it's been started through Hometown Pride, to have them come up with a couple of suggested photos. SETD is working with a professional designer on it, and then those would be the ones to make the decisions.
Do we have good photos to submit, do we know?
I guess what I would say is that I think we do, but I haven't seen them yet, Vicki. But I know that I have some, but they may not be of the proper resolution that they need for that, so.
But Connie would know.
Yep, true.
And she may have some too,
Right, she might,
and Emily may have some too.
right.
That's, we just wanna make sure we're on board.
Well, I think it would be a good way to promote Lakeview, I guess. I wish it said Lakeview under the picture, but whatever.
So we'd wanna anticipate 2 items at $1,000 a piece, is that what we would wanna?
I thought it was 483.
Well, 435.
2 of
Two
them.
a
Two a
thousand,
thousand.
depending on how big the picture is,
Okay.
if you look at these.
That's, would be on one side or the other, right?
Yeah, just on one side.
But we could commit the $2,000 but if we don't need to spend it, we certainly won't do it. At least we'd have that open window to put us in there.
So could we commit to having 2 items and with a budget up to $2,000?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
I'll make that one.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
So it is committing 2 items and then the budget's up to $2,000. Okay? Did you make a motion, Dave?
Yes.
Okay,
Tammy said,
very good. Okay, Waltman,
yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes,
I have a question. Can I get to choose which side of the trailer?
You know, that question came up at Hometown Pride.
I know it did.
I
Because
know which
was
one I
there.
want.
it would certainly seem like you want the driver's side of the,
Better visibility for, you know.
And hopefully we get to proof this, instead of what we
Yes.
promised last time, they didn't get to proof it.
there you go. Just a few other things. Mayor Westergaard and I are scheduled to go to a rural development summit. It's in Grinnell this Thursday and Friday. And Tammy had planned to go and then had some plans changed, so she couldn't attend. Anyway, I'm still looking for a 3rd team member. And I know Whitey's out of town. Vicki, you're kinda out of town.
Kinda.
probably don't wanna fly back in for them.
We fly to Des Moines.
Anyway, this is a Thursday and a Friday deal, if either Dave or Terry has any interest, you can let me know.
I'm not, we're so short of bus drivers, I hate to commit to something like that.
Sure. Shoreline Cleanup Day is April 21st. And especially looking for a couple of truck drivers for that day. I saw a one-hand and two-hand, and then we'll see what else we need for city staff. I'll talk with them then.
Make sure the city staff uses shovels, we'll drive a truck.
I'm looking for probably a backhoe and a skid loader operator. And I think the last thing, Sac County League is next Thursday, and it's over in Auburn.
And the fish house is a go.
Yeah, so that's the update on the fish houses, that all of the money has been paid to the DNR,
The DNR is coming up with the extra.
and the DNR is coming up with the extra. Yeah, they're not anticipating asking for any additional local money. So, what the city paid, and as you look through the bills, you'd see this in a couple areas tonight, that the city paid $7,500, $7,500 out of one area, but that was $5,000 from the county, $2,000 from Sac County Sportsman, and $500 from Farmer State Bank. So those were reimbursed items, and we received all of that money other than the $2,000 from the Sportsman. But then there was also $2,040. Now that's the amount that the city has actually paid, basically out of pocket. With still the concept that the LPA is going to contribute the funds that were raised from Tate Lair's Real Fun Fishing Tournament, which could be that much. So they said they'd actually contribute back to the city up to the amount that the city put in. So, it could be that the city's financial contribution is very small or nothing. Although it would seem like he would still want to participate in somehow. But anyway, the project's been better than you could have hoped for. That's great. They let the bids. DNR let the bids with a couple of alternatives for treated lumber decking, and then for composite decking. And what they ended up choosing something in between, so I don't know exactly what the cost is, because they'll use composite decking with treated lumber handrails. So.
That's it. Well, before we go, last Thursday night we went to Wall Lake and we were given the Friends of Conservation to the city. And TJ was up and he said that every time there's a meeting, somebody from Lakeview has been at that meeting, because the first meeting I went to was 10 years ago on this lake restoration. So he complimented Lakeview and its citizens for participating in everything that we do. We do rain gardens, bioswales. The city's always involved in. And he wanted to thank everybody in the city council and the public. And another thing that Jim, what was his name?
Jim Frederick.
Jim Frederick's got up. He said he went to a national convention or something, and the guy that got up spoke about the Black Hawk Restoration Project, and that every community in the United States should follow what we're doing here. So I thought that was a pat on Lakeview's back. Ben Wallace, everybody else.
Good job, it's huge, and you know, John, I'm sure that you were at 98% of those meetings, so hats off to you and Scott too.
Yep. But they really compliment Lakeview. We got a good community. So. Now we will enter in the motion to go into closed session.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Boltman.
Yes.
Moller.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.